California weather is gorgeous. Sorry, I'm just making sure the broadcast came up. California weather is gorgeous, and I live in this beautiful place called Spring Valley Lake. It's like a little bubble. We're in this little bubble of beauty, right? And so I absolutely love it here. But we all kind of have some of those days, right? Put a one in the chat box if y'all have ever had one of those days, because that's today for me right now. But thank you all for being here. And if you guys do me a favor, if you guys are new to the broadcast, drop your name down in the chat box and say hey, hey, and make sure that you hit the follow button, the subscribe button, whichever platform you're on. We're on 9 different platforms right now. So make sure you hit that. And if you haven't already, come on over to the HAPS app. If you guys go to HAPS, HAPPS, .tv/invite/ at symbol Vicky Fitch, VICKIFITCH. Come on over. You can get some rewards for being here. You can get rewards for live streaming. Hey, Ed, welcome to the broadcast. You can also, give some rewards out to people. We love it when you support our broadcast, but there's other people on here that do some really amazing content, and you can support those content creators as well. So come on over to HAPS, and the other benefit to that is you can actually see all of the content, the comments in one place, even no matter what platform what platform they come in on, you can see them all there. So come on over. And let's dive into today's topic, right? Socialism. Put a 2 in the chat box if you know what socialism is, right? Sometimes there really is a lot of confusion about what socialism is versus Marxism and how this stuff all blends together. And I'm not going to go into all of that today, kind of a deep dive there, because many of you do know, and those of you that don't can also message me and we can do something on that. But, if you think that you want America to be a socialist country, you might want to do a little research on Venezuela and other countries that, Cuba, what happens to them when a socialist regime comes in. About maybe 3 or 4 months ago, it could have been even a little bit longer, but if you look in my Facebook news feed and search for, I think it was actually under Cuba. I believe it was a Turning Point or Charlie Kirk that had a team of people that went into Cuba and Cuba, excuse me, that went there, and they kind of broke down what was happening there in the society and the people and the long lines and the food. When they went into the grocery store, there were lines, and there were rows and rows of the exact same thing. There's like very limited what's available. There was no fresh fruits, no fresh vegetables, no fresh meat. It's really sad what's gone on, and they actually ended up having to get out of the country, literally get out of the country. They had people banging at the door. They didn't like them doing the live streams they were doing. They almost didn't get through customs. It's really scary. But when you start to see behind the scenes what happens and listen to people that have been through that, search on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube for people that are talking to you about their own personal experience of what happened in the socialist communities and countries, and how we definitely do not want to deal with that here in America. And the reason I brought that up today is because there was a great article. There's a lot of controversy around the world about what's happening in America today. Many countries have, I don't know many, I can't really describe who has absolute freedom of the press and they get all the information and which ones don't. But many of my friends that are in other countries they're not hearing what's really going on here in America. They're getting mainstream media content. They're seeing what the general channels, the CNNs and stuff are putting out. But that stuff is only surface. It's not covering what really goes on. They do these little sound bites that make things look completely different than what they are. And so people in other countries aren't quite understanding what's happening here in America. Some of them think they do and they don't, and other ones probably do. But today there was an article in the Epic Times. Guys, got a little tickle there in the throat. And it's called The New Zealander's 9 Starter Steps to Save America from Socialism by someone named Trevor Loudon, Loudon. And for those of you who are here in HAPS, I'm going to drop this link in the chat so you guys can actually have access to it, to where we're going with that. The unfreedom of the press, right, Ed? It's totally true. And by the way, if you guys would do me a favor and hit the share button, I'd really appreciate it. If you guys know, our Periscope app went down, so all my Perry peeps that would come on to all of my broadcasts, they are not going to be able to find me unless they're looking for me on Twitter. So hopefully we don't see that major dip in our numbers like we did before. But if we do, then all the more time that I can focus on those of you that are right here in the house. And of course, if you're a replay viewer, make sure to hit the hashtag and replay so I know that you're there. You can continue to make comments and tag me in them so I'll make sure to go back and respond to them. And you're also, I found out today, I did not know this. You're also able to offer up the little awards and stuff, like a high five. I think it's worth 15 cents or whatever, and you get those free. You get free coins every day just for logging into the Haps app. So you don't ever actually have to come out of pocket with any money. But if you choose to sponsor some of the creators, myself or other ones that you find valuable, that's an option for you as well. Because I know many people are wanting content to continue to be produced, and they're looking for ways to support. So let's see here. For those of you again who are new, pop your name in the chat box. And I seem to be freezing on my little screen in here. Can you guys let me know if you're seeing me freeze or if I look solid like a solid citizen? Let me know. I really appreciate it. And again, if you guys are not on Haps, make sure that you're following in those platforms, but definitely go to haps.tv.com. Sorry, haps.tv slash invite slash at Vicky Fitch. If you haven't joined up yet, if you have, you can just go direct to my channel, haps.tv.com slash at Vicky Fitch. Okay, so as we talk about this, these are the things, and I know socialism might be maybe my tag of socialism might have gotten put me back in the schnitzel box with Facebook. But stuff that you guys need to know, and you can always share it out afterwards. You can share it out privately. You don't have to put it on your page if you want. But this is done by a New Zealander, right? And so he starts it out and says, "Though I'm a New Zealander, I know America and its people well. I've traveled to every state in the lower 48, and I have to tell you, I haven't even traveled to every state in the lower 48. I've addressed more than 500 audiences across this amazing nation. My message has always been the same. The United States is heading toward a brutally tyrannical socialist revolution. And if America goes down, every free country follows." Now, that's a pretty heavy statement, if you know what I mean. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. It's a really heavy statement, but it's a truth bomb. This is a big deal that America, and some of you in different countries or even maybe people here think that Americans think they're so great. Now, that's not been my experience. There are some that are pompous and haughty and self-righteous, and there a lot of our politicians happen to sport those titles, right? But I don't find that. I find America, maybe it's just the people I hang out with, right? The circles that I hang out in, we recognize the value of our country. We recognize, and we're super excited about it. We're proud to live in a country where we can be so free. Now, that's not looking down on other countries. It's just feeling, a sense of a pride in your country, which we all should have. We all have our own flags. And, we can see during the Olympics that, whatever flag you're rooting for, whatever country you're waving that flag, that's called pride of country. That's not a deterrent. It's not something that should be looked down upon. It's something that we should all want to have. We want to have a something that we're excited about. Hey, Lori, welcome to the broadcast. I'm glad you finally got here on Haps, and thank you so much for subscribing. So we want to have that pride, not a pride that looks down on others, but one that says we're so excited to be where we are, and we recognize the value of what we have. So that's the way I look at America. That's the way I perceive us as a nation. And again, do we have a lot of people that have been kind of indoctrinated into this socialist society where, gimme, 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 gimme? Because that's honestly the people that think they want socialism. They want the gimme, 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 right? Give me free healthcare, give me free food, give me free cell phones, give me free money, gimme, 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 gimme. Not that old adage, ask not what you can do for or what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. We've got it flipped, and I think that's been a really sad thing that has occurred here. And if you guys are watching any of the stuff that's going on, that are the representatives in the House and the Senate that are on the Republican side are introducing that and saying, hey, we need to stop some of this doctrine that's going out. We need to stop people from this critical race theory trying to say that America sucks, and that all that we're all born of white supremacy, and that's the Asians are doing well because they're trying to mimic the white. It's all just such a bunch of gobbledygook that we've got to stop listening, right? And we have to tune our eyes and our ears into things that make us great. And what makes us great is that we care about other people, and that we do understand the value of taking care of ourselves first, right? The old adage we talk about almost every day lately is that you have to put the oxygen mask on first. That's what you hear over the loudspeaker when you're on an airplane, that you must put your own oxygen mask on first before you help someone else. Otherwise, you could end up dying while you're trying to help someone, and then both of you die, and that certainly doesn't serve anyone. So it's the same thing. We have to take care of our own country first, so we have the benevolence and we have the ability to take other people. When you turn it into a socialist country, you've converted the people to thinking, number one, that we should, give up our Second Amendment right to bear arms, right? And whether Pittsburgh in the house, welcome Melanie. High five award from Melanie. Melanie, you're the best. Thank you so much, my friend. I truly appreciate you. And if you guys don't know what those awards are, when you click on there, it says awards. You can scroll over and hit more awards, and it gives you all the different coin options and saying, you're right on 100%, high five. And they're little nominal fees of 15 cents, 30 cents. You can give a dollar amount as well. So thank you for that. That's an acknowledgement, kind of like on Periscope when we had the currency of Periscope was our hearts. The parent, the currency of each social platform happens to be, your like, comments, and shares. And then there's also a monetary value now that's available on HAPS. And I'm truly appreciative of that. So again, thanks, Mel. So as we go back to socialism and recognizing that what people think it is and what it really is are two different things. The way the government, I mean, and I'm so sad because honestly, when I was growing up, I think I've told you guys this before, I thought I was a Demopublican, right? I thought I believed in some of the social programs of the Democrats, and I believed in the entrepreneurial skills of the Republicans. And so I called myself a Demopublican. And when I look right now at what the Democrat Party is, it's really not the Democrat Party anymore. It's not about social programs that are supporting people. It's leaning now towards the socialist Marxist portion, which is that the government is in control of everything, and they give you food, they give you money and things. And when you look at what's happening in the CCP in China, that people have this, it's they have this communist thing going on, which again, socialism, communism, these things write a very fine line, and maybe we'll do a show on that, socialism, communism, and Marxism, and what that really means. I'm going to read your comment in 1 second, guys. But when we look at that, in China, they'll give you your money, right, your stipend, whatever that is. But then they went in, for instance, and said you need to take any religious symbols out, otherwise we're taking your stipend back. So you either take that cross down or no food for you. So it's about control. And we have to be really careful about what's happening, because right now, if you ask me, that the left, the socialist left, has infiltrated what used to be called the Democratic Party. It's just really not the Democrat Party anymore. It's the Socialist Party. Bernie Sanders is the only one that actually came out and said he was a socialist. AOC said, I've heard her say socialism and then the kind of backpedal on other pieces. So, you've got these people coming in trying to do that. And the thing is, with the current Democrat, not what everybody that's ever been a Democrat, but the current Democratic side, I always said, they'll eat their own. They don't care if they bring their own down, eat them alive, and throw them under the bus. Like, look at Cuomo. We're not going to do anything until he's got 3 or 4, wherever they're at. And now it's like, whoop, there he goes. He's done. He should resign. He should do this. And you know what? If he did this, he should resign. It's just not appropriate. I mean, I think it's 8 or 9 women now. If he didn't do it, and this is just some conspiracy and all these people are doing that, then the people that support him should back him. I mean, that's the truth. Now, whether that happens in politics or not is a totally different thing. But truth is truth, right? And to me, and I know I'm not a politician, and if I were, I may have to I may have to, I don't know. I can't imagine me ever doing this, no matter how good it was for the people, or because I thought that was somehow going to benefit. But I'm not going to lie. I'm just not. I guess I would resign before I would lie, because if I don't know. I just don't know that I could do it, because I wouldn't feel like I was being true to myself. I'd feel like I was being a fraud and a fake. And so we've got to be able to deliver a message that's truth. If you're a socialist, admit you're a socialist. If you're not, then say it like it is. But if Cuomo did all this, then he needs to resign, and people need to put that into action. And if he didn't do it, then people need to step up, stand out, and speak on his behalf and say this didn't happen, and that these girls, this is the reason that they did it. So again, we need to be bold about what we believe and what truth is. We need to, and if we don't know the truth, we need to dive deep and figure it out, and then do the right thing. You know, do the right thing even when it's hard. Do the right thing even when no one is looking. Do the right thing. So, anyway, let me go down here and read this. I do not believe those that would attempt to start a socialist revolution or impose a socialist government in the USA would survive that attempt. There is a sleeping giant that will awaken when pushed too far. Now, I'm not sure who it is that wrote that, but I'd love to know who it is. I want to say that you are true. I mean, that is truth, right? I want that to be true. There are so many people sleeping, though, that you're right. The giants are awakening. They just aren't the they aren't doing the violent things, so you don't necessarily see them. We're doing things like what I'm doing now. I'm going to step up, stand out, and speak. I'm going to tell you what's happening so you can do your own research. I'm not going to tell you what to think. I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to tell you where I got that information. I'm going to give you some basis and some claims, and then I'm hoping you'll go do your own research, that you'll say, whoa, she's right, or girlfriend is off her rocker, and let me tell her about it. Let me tell her where she's wrong so we can have a constructive discussion. Because if I'm wrong, I want to know I'm wrong. I'm not a right fighter. I'm a truth seeker. And so if I've made a mistake, I want to know I made a mistake because I want to correct it and I don't want to lead anybody else astray. So hopefully that makes sense. Put a two in a two. I can't even hold the right fingers. Put a two in the chat box if that makes sense. Melanie says, I don't understand anything AOC says. Did you see? Okay, put a three in the chat box if you saw what I shared out today with her in this thing where she's putting her eyeball up to the screen and honing in on her eye and flip flopping on all the crap she did last year. This really made me mad. I'll be honest with you. Um, put a four, and it was you, Ed. Okay, thanks. Put a four in the chat box if you saw AOC last year at the border with the kids in cages thing that they were claiming, that Trump did, crying and looking like, oh, she's so, the martyrous thing. The reason I say that, the reason I discount the emotion she established at that time is because now the situation, I believe, wrote a note today from another thing that I had shared out that it's the things are at over 1,600% of capacity. Like they're way over capacity. A little girl died yesterday trying to swim across the Rio Grande. You've got a child that I understand from Baschica that was here yesterday that had DNA samples from 40 men that had raped her on her way through. I mean, we've got circumstances that are so much worse than they were last year when AOC was there. And this time she's playing video camera with her eyeball and talking about, talking about nonsense is what she was talking about, because she starts saying things and then she goes off onto another subject, and it was like, what in the world is she even talking about? And she's just trying to change the subject and get off the fact that she's full of crap, that she is a flip flopper, and whatever the agenda is, wherever she wants to go, she kind of brings her followers like a little lammy. And she drives me nuts with the whiny voice thing. Like, I don't like it. And I'm not saying I don't like her because I don't know her, but I don't like her voice. I don't believe her. So I can't imagine ever hanging out with her unless she, grew up. I believe they would not get the great reset they were hoping for. Well, unfortunately, they are so on track for the great reset that it is going to take a huge part of America, which I'm hoping that you guys are part of it, that we can get the word out to step up, stand out, and speak. Stop being silent, people. We've got to share. If you think what I'm saying is right, share it out. If you aren't sure if what I'm sharing is right, share it out and say, what do you think of this? Like, is this girl crazy or is she on target? Ask questions. Feel free to ask other people what they think, if that will help you more. If you think I'm off my freaking rocker, still share this out, because someone will see it and either agree, disagree, or give me new information that I might change my own opinion. Because that's what our goal should be. We should be truth seekers. We should be looking for the truth and and to be able to hold on to the truth and recognize it as truth, not hope it's truth, wonder if it's truth, could be truth, riding on the edge of truth. We need to be truth seekers. And if we are, then we're never going to be disappointed or angry because, like, if you don't want to believe truth, that's your choice, right? We can be mad if we're trying to convince people to take our position. But if you're just trying to share truth, it's nothing personal, whether people accept it or not. You might be able to determine whether or not your persuasive skills, like, are you able to deliver an articulate message so people can really process it and make a decision? You might choose to believe that you need some improvement in those areas, but you should never take it personally. Truth is truth. If you're doing your sidestepping truth, or if you're an AOC that's dodging the truth, she doesn't want to deal with the fact that that this situation is so much worse, and it's part of the whole political agenda, and it's sad and it's sick. So, like, let's just call it like it is. And if she wants to come on and defend herself, then, like, come on to my show. You guys share it out, tell her, AOC, let's have a chat. But you got to get real and stop with the whining and stop with the, just be real. If you want to actually help the American people, then act like an adult. Act like an adult that doesn't try and dramatize and martyr themselves like a heroine in a show. Just get real. Um, let's see. Ed, thank you. 3 and a 4. Okay, I saw Terrence K. Williams sharing that video. Okay, yes, I shared it from him, Melanie. But yes, that's the one. And he was cracking up at, like, what is she doing with the eyeball thing? Like, I don't know. Is she trying to be a movie? Like, I don't know. I don't know what she was trying to do. But like I said, she's phony. And that's one of the things that I try and bring to the table to you guys. I'm just me. I may be right, I may be wrong. I don't tell you something's fact if it's not a fact. I mean, if I don't know it's a fact, I'll say, "Hey, this is what I read or this is what I found." You know, some things I understand. I understand business, I understand, the general premise of politics and what's happening. So, I'll deliver information based on my pool of knowledge, but then we can always talk about, there's deeper things. There's lots of stuff. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how legal things come out. Like, mm, the Derek Chauvin thing. There's a million people that want. I don't know how they picked a jury pool for that. I haven't seen any of the stuff that's going on there or any of that, but I can only imagine. And Ben Shapiro did a really good job of describing the choices that people have to come up with on whether or not he's guilty, right? And he even went through the thing, of course he's guilty. And someone said we should only do trials if we don't have video and audio evidence of the truth. And Ben did a really good thing by saying, yeah, let's just go ahead and get rid of due process because it's not really convenient. The fact is that it means, did what Chauvin do actually kill him, right? He had all this fentanyl, he had this, he had that. It looks like he probably would have died anyway based on those things. And anyway, he just kind of listed the things out. Is that what part, where does his fault lie? Like, what level does it actually go to? And there are actually laws that are put into effect for that, and so on and so forth. Facebook will tell you whether you're right or wrong, right, Melanie? Isn't that the truth? I had blocked like another 15 fact checkers. The only person besides Robert that I have ever blocked was the fact checkers. So for those of you who are following my regular feed, and I talked about the troll, I've been gently helping this gentleman for over a year to try and give him the ability to recognize that he was getting rude. Hey, Ferris, welcome to the broadcast. He was getting rude and disrespectful to other people. He was not delivering information in a way that he was always making statements about things he didn't know about. And then he would make comments on one post that had nothing to do with that post. It was like he was getting confused. But I was super nice and I'd ask questions and help redirect. And I'd say, really? Well, maybe you want to check this. And what are you talking about? Because this post has to do with voting and you're talking about guns, or this post has to do with this. And, you're talking about, chakras. Who knows? It was weird how he would just pop up with other things. And then one day he said, um, I said, Robert, what you're doing seems to be trolling, and then he's like, trolling, what's trolling? I said, well, that's where you just come intentionally every day on a post, or or a live stream or something, and you're constantly being contrary without any desire to actually have a conversation. And he's like, "Yeah, okay, then I'm a troll." And then he goes, "Yeah, and the gloves are off." And he started attacking me and my people. But they were such lame attacks that I really just started using sarcasm to kind of mock his efforts to, because sometimes when we do troll patrol, that works. We've had many what we call troll conversions where they start becoming part of the community and asking questions because we're always willing to swing, delete all that stuff and start over. Well, we always give people a chance to start over because, we all deserve that. And so, again, it was weird to actually block someone that wasn't just a fact checker. Um, and I finally did because he started spiraling, and this is he's been, and that's where how kind of tying of the socialism thing. There's videos and people, friends of mine that had been in socialist countries or lived there that were saying, "No, this is true. You don't understand," because this was one of the posts that he was arguing about socialism. He's like, "I was in Cuba and it's perfectly wonderful. All the people were happy. Everyone was thrilled. There was no gas lines anywhere." Now remember, when you go to visit a country, you're going to see one little spot. So perhaps the little tourist trap you were in didn't have these problems, but he's making these blanket statements telling people they're wrong and they're crazy, have no idea what they're talking about, and just started becoming this what I call a definitive statement maker, right? And definitive statements are ones that don't have any room for change. The, you know, um, Today is March 31st, right? No, here in the US, today is March 31st. So that's a definitive statement I can make. The entire world today, it is March 31st, is an incorrect, it's a definitive statement because I've made it as a statement like it's a fact, but it is not because many countries and Australia, they're in the future, they're a day ahead of us. We have, different ones that are hours ahead of us. So we have to be careful about the statements we make. And then when you start making definitive statements that are incorrect, then you start losing your credibility. And when you start just being obnoxious and then not only making incorrect statements, but then disrespecting other people, right? Socialism has a little, it starts a little bit like that, right? That you're told one thing and what do they say in that thing? If you told the same thing over and over again, you start to think it's truth, right? It doesn't make it truth, but we start to believe it. Like, oh, I've heard that, oh yeah, I know that. Um, that kids in cages, that was Trump. When it wasn't Trump, it was actually the Biden Obama administration that created those cages. And yes, they were still in those facilities as they were coming over the border during the Trump administration. But now the narrative needs to change. Now it's not kids in cages. Now that we're calling it something totally different. And even though they're completely overrun, Kamala Harris said that it was what did she guys say, you guys? A travesty and an injustice, and basically like we were breaking the law and we're the worst people on the earth. Now she's supposed to be at the border taking care of this, and she's nowhere to be found and doesn't want to talk about it. It's just it's hard to respect people that flip flop on their own word. I mean, it's just like Fauci. He's flip flopping. Fauci has never been able to stick with his word ever. And so he's really hard to take. But that's the way socialism starts, right? We can tell you the same thing over and over again until you actually believe it's true. Oh, are you there was a study done on, was it John Maxwell? It probably wasn't. It was probably Tom Hopkins or someone, but they did a study and they were in a lecture. They were doing, he's a speaking engagement, and he stops and says to the guy in the front row, "Oh my gosh, are you feeling okay?" The guy's totally fine. He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine." But by the end, they had stopped so many times, but by the end, the guy wasn't feeling well, right? That when people keep telling us something, then all of a sudden you think, "Oh, I have had a little headache. I wasn't thinking much about it." And then all of a sudden you're like, I don't know, maybe I don't feel well." So the power of what we feed our mind can change the way things are going. And so when we hear negative things or we hear the same thing from it, "Oh yes, free college, free this, free, free, free." And then we start getting indoctrinated in schools. Now, again, here's another thing that I posted today. The teacher that was, it might have been yesterday that I posted it, but the teacher that was literally harassing this kid over Zoom because there was a picture of a white girl and a black girl. No, a white girl with red hair and a black girl with black hair. And the teacher was asking what he saw. And he's like, "I see two girls chilling." And he's like, "Oh, is that all you see?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Really?" And they just kind of went on. He goes, "It's funny how you always have to be I don't know, difficult. I don't remember the actual word he used, but he's like, "I'm not. I see 2 girls that are chilling." And he went on and on, and then he goes, "So what you're trying to do is tell me I see a tell you want me to tell you I see a black girl and a white girl." Well, yes, because that is what you see. And he was basically kind of saying, "I'm not seeing people by color. I see 2 girls chilling." And but when you start to realize that's what people are being indoctrinated to, that's what the teachers are dishing out. And then this kid, and he sounded more like an adult to me, so I don't know what school this was, if it was a high school or if it was even a college class, but I seem to recall, I think it was on the Michael Knowles show, and Michael was saying that it was a high school. Um, I could be incorrect there, but the general premise is the same, is that this person didn't want, I mean, he had a correct opinion. I mean, you don't have to, I always say, I think you can be colorblind, right? I don't think of people by color. I don't group them. I don't think of them that way. I do think of them by the sexes, right? I think of my girlfriends and then my friends in general, but my girlfriends doesn't mean every female friend I have. It's that tighter knit group of people that I like to hang out with, or that make me laugh or make me happy or that I see more often, right? So we group them in terms of how we feel sometimes, or like, oh, my chess club or my Bible study group. So, but we don't have to see people by color. I don't see them by color. It doesn't mean I don't know your color or notice your color, but I think I've said this before. Somebody said to me, "Hey, Moreno Valley, welcome to the broadcast. Share, appreciate you being here." I will read those other two comments in just a second. Somebody said to me, how many, do you even have any black friends? And I was like, well, yeah, I do. Well, who are they? And so I was frustrated because I don't want to stop and think and compartmentalize my friends by the color of their skin. I've just found that so offensive and weird. I think it would have been even weirder if I said, well, and I had this list to rattle off like I had thought of it before. I mean, it's just so not normal to me that I don't think of people like that. I don't think of putting them in a box. So, when we have teachers that are delivering that message and teachers that are delivering a socialist agenda, like I was telling you guys yesterday, that my son, one of his teachers in school kept arguing with him, telling him that fast food workers and doctors should make the same wages, that the doctors do not deserve more money. And my son was like, "Why? I mean, if you're going to go to school that much more time, why don't you deserve more money?" And it was just weird to have to try and, I mean, obviously it's logic. You get paid for the time and investment that you do. You spend a lot of years and a lot of hours to become a doctor and then to become a specialist. You should get paid more. You've invested more. You invested more time and more energy, and our knowledge is power. So why would we identify that people shouldn't get paid more money for the more experience that they have? And so, we have to be really careful. Do I think that we should take care of our sick? I do. Do I think that we should be paying, this is a real hot spot for me. This really makes me angry that we are right now, we just paid $86 million for all the illegals to have hotel rooms. I don't think that's right, though. We should be closing the borders, finishing the walls, putting our own oxygen mask on first, figuring out what's going on in our country, and processing people legally into the country. That's my opinion. I'm not the president. I don't get to make the choice, but I do get to have a voice, and I do get to talk to my congressman. I get to talk to our representatives and express my opinion, and I'm not alone in that opinion. And so the more people that agree with that, what's fair for us to do, then we might be able to make some changes. I think our veterans need to be treated better. And I think the fact that our veterans are homeless and hungry, and we're spending $86 million to put illegals for, just for a political point, because that's the only reason Biden is doing this. It's not, these people are not refugees that are, being beaten and burned. They're coming over in droves from all different kinds of places because he basically said, come and come and get your freebies. That's what he did. And who wouldn't come? I mean, you're telling me you're going to let me in. I don't have to go through the process. And yeah, it's a little bit treacherous to get there, and in some cases, horribly treacherous. But I'm going to give you free health care and free this and free that. And just, come on over. I mean, in California, Newsom's even giving them stimulus payments. So, it's unemployment for some of them. They're not even here illegally. But the fact is that this stuff is happening, and we get to talk about it, right? And so right now on the border, in California, we don't have in-school learning open. Some places are open for partial days. I'm not aware, except for private schools, of any school in California, and somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, that's open for full-time learning every day. Thank you, Maggie, for the super hard award. Appreciate it. Yeah, recall Newsom fast. Yeah, I'm a big Newsom recaller. Um, but we're paying. Did you guys know that in San Diego right now, for the people that are the illegals that just came in, we're doing full time in-person learning? Did you know that? Our kids aren't getting it here. The citizens aren't getting it here. The parents are struggling because they're teaching their kids on Zoom. But did you guys know that was happening? I shared that out too. Or Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, got called out on it from one of the reporters, and she just danced around it. And it was such a load of crap. Again, I know some of you guys like Jen Psaki. I don't dislike her as a person. And I get that she's trying to do her job, but she needs to resign, because if you can't deliver truth, you should find a new job. And she's not delivering truth. She's dancing around the truth, and it's a pathetic attempt. And the American people should be pissed off, like incredibly pissed off. Not because illegals are getting well, actually no. Illegals right now, we're in a pandemic, and our country is our economy is in jeopardy. We just did a $1.9 trillion bill that was mostly pork. 9% of it was helping us. The other 91% was pork and paying off old debts. And it was a joke, and it's ridiculous, and it's insane. And we should be pissed off about that too. But then to add on 86 million for illegals to stay in hotels. So we're illegals, come on in. We're going to pay for your food, your health care, your education. Now, our own kids aren't going to get that stuff, but we're going to give it to you, and it's completely free. And as long as it takes us to get you processed through here. That's just wrong on so many levels. I don't even know how to say it. Let's see. That's what I was trying to say the other day. Integrity in our statements. Yeah, Lori, right? And I'm the same way. Ferris, thank you so much for subscribing. I'm glad to have you here. I believe in everything you speak about, Vicky. That's why I am drawn to and follow you. Unfortunately, telling the truth is something the left cannot and will not do. The left only understands force. That's a really direct word. Let's talk about that in a second. We are headed towards slavery for anyone that believes in the Constitution and God. I think slavery is another strong word. Let's break that down in a second. Um, and the last time there was slavery in this country, it took a war to end it. Coincidentally, it was the Democrats that wanted slavery and the Republicans that won the war that ended it. Most people don't really understand about the Democrats and slavery, and that they were the ones, and that they even are the ones that started the KKK. And we probably have to do a broadcast on that, because history is being mutilated these days. Let's see. I am not a warmonger, nor do I encourage violence. I simply enjoy history. History, we are headed towards repeating. Forgive me for being so negative. And I don't think you as negative. I think that you're frustrated. And I think your words are a little bit, and I'm going to use the word abrasive, even though I don't feel like they're actually abrasive. I'm sure they're triggering some other people. Um, I don't think the left I don't think the left only understands force. I think they only understand pain, and that pain can be in humiliation, because this like the border crisis is like a nightmare. But they will continue to lie, cheat, and steal. At least some, not everybody that's a Democrat, but the people that are in power right now, the Pelosi's, the Schumers, I mean, honestly, they just give me some of the heebie-jeebies, because they don't care about us. They really do not seem to care about us at all. They care about their agenda, and perhaps they really do believe that the agenda that they have in their mind is what's best for us. I have a hard time buying it. I mean, I think that they just think that they are all that in a bag of chips, and that we are just too stupid to figure things out for ourselves, and that they're just going to control us. Now, as for the slavery, unfortunately, I'm sad to say that I feel like our country is being pushed towards a civil war. I hope that's not it, because I believe that, and I can't even say Republicans, but people that are conservative generally have a better delivery system, and they're not all about lying, cheating, and stealing to get what they want. Does that mean people don't spin things? No, I'm not. Am I saying they're perfect? One size good, one size bad? I'm not. There's lots of good and bad people on both sides of the aisle, but we have to do it smarter, not through brute force. Although I have to say, after watching BLM during the summer, it made me outraged that no one was doing anything about it. Now, I do want to do a peaceful protest that's a little bit loud. I want to get out and loud and say, this is nuts. This is nuts. And so I'm doing my protests here and hoping you guys will hit the share button because I can reach more people right here than I can going down to City Hall and with especially with the pandemic and having 10 other people there. If I could get in front of 100,000 people, I'd have this conversation. So if you guys help me do that, again, we can have a conversation. It's not about me getting my word out. It's about saying, "Hey, what's fair?" And this is not even logical. This is nuts. Now, I couldn't do that if I as a business owner, I couldn't do that. And so we shouldn't be subjected to that as the people. So Moreno Valley, so you're not too far from me. Share. Welcome to the broadcast. I totally agree with you. Thank you so much. Let's see. It seems most of the people using the word racist are the ones who actually are. I can't disagree with that, especially some of the things like if you disagree that Dr. Seuss was racist, then you're a racist. And if you've read White Fragility, put a 5 in the chat box if you guys have read that book or even heard about it. It is the most ridiculous piece of trash I've ever read in my life. True story. I mean, it's just pure trash. It's pure nonsense is what it is. Let's see. The ones who drew it's guilty till proven innocent. Yeah, it's guilty. You don't even have to be proven anything. It's just guilty. You're guilty. Yep. What? No, you're guilty. Like you can treat and respect everyone, but if you can't come up with the magic phrase, you must be a racist because you can't prove to me you're not. Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, even Robert on my thing was saying I must be a racist. Like, huh? He's like, what do you say? You have a fear of minorities. Like, I don't even know where that came from. We were talking about voting when I said, is there really any benefit? Tell me what the benefit to not doing voter ID is. I just want to know what is the real benefit? Like who is it serving and how is it helping anyone to not have a voter ID? And then all of a sudden now I'm a racist or something. I want some of those freebies. You know what, Share? I'll take the freebies. Like, like if they do like I was gonna pay off my son's college loans, but if I gotta put up with the current administration and they're ready to write off those loans, I'm gonna let them hang in there for a little while and see if they because hey, if they're going to do it for everyone else, it's not like I refuse to take it, but I would gladly give it up for us to fix what's going on, right? But if everybody else is going to do it, it is not going to make me feel better and it's not going to do anything for my cause to say, "I refuse to accept your charity on my son's loans. I'm going to pay it anyway." That's just being a martyr, right? I mean, if that's the current law, it is what it is and so fine, I'll take advantage of it, but I'm going to fight to not have that as something that's available. Now, I think it's great that everyone should be able to go to community college for free. I don't know if it's sustainable or not. I haven't dug into it and looked at the logistics, but I think that would be great. I think there's lots of people that want to go to college that can't. I think, I mean, I spent a fortune on sending my son to college, even though he had an academic scholarship, a volleyball scholarship, and a basketball scholarship, which paid a big chunk. School is freaking expensive, especially when he was in Chicago and you're living on campus. So I believe that people that really want to go to college, I would love to help them find a way. And as a matter of fact, our nonprofit that we're trying to put together will have some opportunities for scholarships and all kinds of stuff. So I want to help with that and I'm going to fight against giving away free college or writing off student loans. I think it's unfair to the people that have paid their loans. But again, if that's the way it is, I'll take advantage of it. But I'm not going to fight for it. I'm not going to say, "Oh, well, let's not pay," because I have college loans for my son still. And that was our choice. For those of the haters of you that say you have to let your kid pay for their own, there's two things that we made a choice. We're paying for if our kids want to go to college, we're paying for their college, and we bought them their first car. And if you wreck the car, blow the car, you're required to pay your own insurance. And you're required to pay your gas, just like my parents did for me. That's our choice. So you can judge if you want, but maybe you might want to just, kind of take a look at your own situation and find out why that would trigger you. Because a lot of people say, "Oh, you're spoiling your kids." I don't think so. Although they can be spoiled, I don't think I'm spoiling them. I made some choices on what they're required to do and what those options are, and you get to do that too. And if we make mistakes, then we get to look at them and go, "Hey, by the way, I did not work out so well. I don't recommend it. but we don't have to make fun of other people or put them down. All right, Maggie, thank you again for the super heart. You are a rock star. Share, recall Newsom fast. I call him Nutty Newsom, and I'm definitely a recall Newsom fan. 2 hours only, and parents are paying for extended care. What are you referring to, Maggie? 2 hours only, and parents are paying for extended care. I'm not sure what that's referring to. Please let me know. Yes, they are supposed to need more specialized help due to their minority status. Bull. You know what? Then they should have stayed in their own country. Not being rude, not being mean. And they should come over legally. If you come over legally, we got plenty of help. But right now, it's not our responsibility to educate the entire world. It's not. It isn't. That's not our responsibility. Our responsibility is to take care of our country, our borders, and our citizens. And then because we as citizens have created a country or have continued to want a country to flourish where we do allow people to legally migrate into the country, then we get to make those decisions. But right now, EO Joe is making all the decisions just by the flick of a pen. And I don't know if you saw, the Wicked Witch of the West over there, NP, but she said, "We don't say open sesame. We just say open Biden." Now, did you guys see that? Put a 6 in the chat box if you saw, the Wicked Witch of the West saying, "We just say open Biden." And if you didn't see that, go through my thread. You'll see it there on the Step Up, Stand Out, and Speak thing. Yeah, let's see. Hey, we refurbished the Kennedy Theater in New York. Well, that needed to be done immediately. I don't know if that's what you're referring to. And like I said, I'm all for theaters, I'm all for museums, I'm all for doing all that stuff. But right now, what we needed to focus on was COVID relief, making sure small businesses got back in business, that people were able to pay their mortgages and rents. And this fact, like, people, are you guys with me here? That I mean, I don't know about you, but if you have real estate and you've been renting it out, and with this moratorium on being able to evict people and them not having to pay the bill, there is going to be a it's going to hit the fan when all of a sudden the moratorium's over, and then those people who were required to pay 25% but didn't pay anything are a year and a half behind now. You're a year and a half behind if you didn't have resources, or maybe you're only 6 months behind now because you didn't have the resources, you didn't have extra money coming in. Now you're the one penalized, and that person gets off scot free. It's wrong what we're doing. And again, if you want to drop 86 million for something, drop 86 million on taking care of the residents here and the residential issues they're having with their homes and the possibilities, not 86 million dollars on bringing in the next class of voters because you as a Democrat want to stay in power. It's wrong, it's egotistical, it's not in support of our country, and we need to just recognize what's happening because there's no other reason for them to do it. Again, you can be the nicest president in the world. You come into office, your job is to figure out what the problems are right now. The problems right now were not, we don't have enough people in the country and we have such an excess of cash. What will we ever do with it? And how could we get rid of it fast enough? That's not the problem our country was having. So, writing an executive order to stop the border wall, which was already 100% paid for, makes zero sense. I mean, if you guys disagree, throw something up in the chat and tell me why I'm wrong. But I can't see any logic in it. Um, let's see. I'm moving out and coming back as a migrant, right, Maggie? I mean, my gosh, if I sell my house, go over to Mexico, give up my citizenship, and walk over the border, I can basically live here for free, go to school, and start a business, and and I can keep the cash I had from selling my house. It's nuts. And yes, I was simplifying for those of you who might be concrete literal. That was a simplification, and I wasn't being, completely serious, but we're just trying to make a point. History is why I homeschooled my children. You know, I sent my kids to a private Christian school their whole life until Elijah got to high school, and he wasn't feeling like that he was really fitting in with the kids. And so we made some accommodations that honestly I'm glad we did them because he wouldn't have felt supported, but it was a horrible experience, really was, until his senior year. And then anyway, I don't want to talk about that right now. That's a whole nother topic. We don't push to extremes. I think you're probably referring to the right side of the aisle that doesn't tend to push to extremes. I think we don't even push hard enough right now. I think people like Ted Kennedy, Senator Ted Cruz and Paul Rand are trying to push. but they need a lot more support, and I don't think there's enough support, and there should be a lot more ruckus. And I'm looking forward to President Trump coming out with his own. I saw his new website. I wasn't super impressed. I didn't get a chance to go looking through it, but I'm looking forward to his social media platforms because hopefully, and some news media outlets. If you guys are not participating in the Daily Wire, they have a um, they're creating their own news outlet that provides conservative perspectives instead of just blocking everything out, just like the Epic Times. And I still don't know if it's Epoch because I've heard them say Epoch, but we all say Epic. So I don't know, but EPOCH Times, they have good content. Hello from Lincoln. Welcome, Colin. Welcome to the broadcast. Appreciate you being here. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, by the way, hit the subscribe button. I don't know what platform you're on, but we are on the HAPS app, haps.tv/invite/ Vicky Fitch if you don't have an account, or just come over to follow me, haps.tv/ at Vicky Fitch, VICKIFITCH. Come on over. You can see all the comments and stuff from all the platforms melded into one. We are running on not multicasting on 9 places right now. So glad to see you here on Haps. Thank you, Share. I appreciate it so very much. Facebook, the slavery will be that unless you can afford to pay huge fees on your private business, you must basically find a sponsor to take over your business and forfeit your property to your sponsor. Pretty much only corporations will be left, and income will be only enough to keep you alive, but never enough to get out. Your vaccine ID will be your behavior scorecard, and you will be denied services if your behavior is anything but agenda approved. Okay, that was like a super duper huge mouthful. If many of you guys might not know what part of that means, but let me break down a few pieces for you because I think they deserve to go into a little bit of detail. Um, the income will only be left to keep you alive. That's kind of in that socialist agenda, which is what we're talking about. We have to save America from socialism because it's not going to support us. It's going to crush our country. Um, but the vaccine ID, the people here are revolting against a vaccine ID. I can tell you right now, I'm not getting a vaccine ID. And somebody tries to put a needle in my arm, they're gonna have to hold me down. And I got to tell you, I will not take that well. I'll be kicking I will be fitch slapping some serious booty if people try and vaccinate me. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I've had every vaccine when I was a kid. My kids have had all their vaccines, but this one is like a absolute no-go. And there's been a couple others I've been a little concerned about, but right now it's definite no-go. And the scorecard, in China, they do have a social scorecard. And if you are posting things that are not part of it, you can't get a loan there. There's all kinds of stuff. I've done some broadcasts on that before and sent you guys some information. How's Mr. President today? EO Joe? I don't know. He's still incompetent and incapacitated, my friend. Unfortunately, I still think he's completely out to lunch. Share says the stimulus check agreement was to furbish the can. Oh, yeah, don't even. Yeah, right, Share. Don't even remind me. It's nuts. Were you on Blab, Vicky? Yes, I was one of the original people on Blab. I held 2 podcasts there over 500 episodes, I think. Let's see, sure. One thing good about HAPS is that it's supposed to be open to all opinions without any filtering. You know what? I think it is so far, Cher, but were you here the other night when I won't say his name. He was somebody that was over on Periscope. I was on Periscope since the first day that it was available to be on as well. And he came over and said that I have no right to talk politics on HAPS. It's the wrong place for it. And it's wrong. And I said, I disagree with you. I think it's about being able to bring up your opinion. And the good thing, what I believe about my broadcast is that I open the conversation. I have my opinion. I don't pretend. It's not opaque. It's very clear. It's laid right out there, but I'm open to discussion. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you guys think I'm wrong, it's not okay. If you think I'm wrong, I'm going to attack you. I mean, everybody here that knows me, that's not who I am. We can have a conversation, and I will try and deliver information. You can deliver information, and one of us may change our opinion, and we may not. We may just agree to disagree and accept that we're different, and then that's okay. Let's see, sir. Welcome. You guys are awesome. Retta in the house. Hey. I thought I recognized the name. Oh, Colin. Well, thank you so much. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you subscribed and we can stay connected. Good to have you here. Thank you so much, my friend. Great to see second gentleman of the United States. I love you. You're awesome. You can talk politics on here all the time. Thank you so much, Share. I really appreciate it. That's like telling you that you can't preach. Exactly. And because I'm a Christian too, and I do talk about God in my opinion. But again, I'm not judging you. You guys can believe or not believe. I don't say if you don't believe, then you're a fool. I just say, hey, these are my values, and this is what I believe, and therefore X, Y, and Z. But again, I have friends and followers and fans, all different kinds of religions and genders and ethnicities. So we just get to all come together like a melting pot. Please don't attack me, Vicky. Retta. He's joking. He's joking, you guys. This app was for journalists long before it was a social network. Right. And I actually do consider myself a bit of a journalist, right? I mean, I'm an author and I write things and I do try and get details on the information that I'm providing. So I do think of it as an opinion piece, but still from a journalist perspective that I get information. I don't pull rabbits out of the hat or just listen to a bunch of hyperbole and then try and ram it together and create truth out of it. I try and do my research and pull truth. So hopefully you guys find that value here as well. By the way, Vicky, I am so into politics, but I tweet on Twitter. Yeah, Retta, well, that's because you're not on the right side of the aisle, right? And I say right, not meaning a right and wrong, but the right in terms of the Republicans. It has turned into an absolute cesspool of hate over there. Like when you comment, if you reply in support of, let's say, Donald Trump Jr., for instance, I will get 50 or 60 nasty messages. There's no conversation. There is just attack, right? And so, um, although here I am live streaming there as well, again, I used to get, well, yesterday, of course, as soon as Periscope went down, I had a lot of followers on Periscope that would come. And they're not actually adding those followers onto your Twitter feed. So the people that were not Twitter followers that were Periscope followers are now in no man's land. So if they did not come and follow, they won't see the broadcast here. I heard that they were going to merge that, but I can tell I ended up having more Periscope followers than I did Twitter followers. And so I don't have the same amount right now. And so anyway, um I have found Twitter to be a very left-leaning platform these days, and I'm talking about, like I said, attacked. I got attacked by some guy that told me he was going to cancel me. He has 2 followers. Like he was just a fake account, but it was like, really? Like that's where we've gone. Somebody who doesn't know me and I liked a comment and said I agree or something, and they go into full frontal attack, and it just didn't feel like a very authentic place. There's no conversation there. But again, I love you, man. The attacks can be brutal like Periscope, but I haven't seen it on this app. I haven't seen it on this app. And Periscope, I had some trolls, but we troll patrolled them and we were fine. But Twitter has just gotten. I used to tweet on Twitter all the time. I had a very active following, and like I said, it's just different right now. Oh no, left. Twitter is bipolar. Retta, tell me you don't actually believe that. Do you? I mean, not that no, let me rephrase that. Do you see that it leans left like for real? Do you see that? Or are you being serious that you don't see it? Cuz maybe you don't. I mean, if you don't, if you didn't watch, 50 or 100 of the people that you followed, be shut down on Twitter. And I've got myself in the penalty box so many times with Facebook that I can't even count them. I have known you to be a super strong individual, though all your lectures and illnesses at home. Oh, thank you so much, share. Yeah, I've had quite the story. Colin says we haven't had any active attacks up to this point. I haven't experienced any. I had just the one person that told me that I had no right to be on here talking politics, that I should leave those on Periscope. But again, I didn't get mad, and he didn't go into any, he didn't go into any more. He just, I don't know, 2 or 3 times said stuff. Nope, you shouldn't be doing that here. It's not the platform for that. You should bring those back to Periscope. But he wasn't rude. And I just said I disagreed with him. And so, and I did kind of call him out. And I said, you do recognize that you basically walked into my house, right? You came up to the door because this is my broadcast, this is my live stream, and you come in and basically tell me that I'm not allowed to talk about what I want to talk about in my own house. If you don't want to come in, then don't. But don't tell me what I can talk about. And now, unless I'm violating some kind of terms of service or the community standards, then, if you're in a position to identify that, then you could say something. Other than that, it really just makes it rude. because it makes your opinion, you're trying to supersede your opinion over mine, or my what I want to do in my own house with your own, and then that just becomes rude, right? And do you guys agree with that? Again, if I'm violating community standards, if I was trying to hurt people or calling people names, or being wicked or mean or evil, that, I guess that's one thing. But that's not the case. I mean, we're having a perfectly fine conversation here. You might not agree with me, but we're having a conversation. No one, I don't think anybody feels attacked. Even Retta, are you feeling attacked? um, but again, if we call things out without treating them disrespectfully, I didn't say, "Hey, you stupid punk creep, get off my feed and everybody jump on it, attack her." We don't do that. That's just immature and having an inability to articulate yourself. Let's see. He's entitled to his opinion. I agree. He is entitled. Who are you talking about, Retta? Or are you talking about the person that told me to be out here? He's entitled to his opinion. But if he doesn't wanna hear mine, he should just move on, all right? I mean, like, it's really magic, like we always say in Periscope, there's this little magic X at the top, just hit it and poof, I disappear. Just go somewhere else and I'll be gone. You never have to see me again. Yes, don't participate if you think the chat is not agreeable to you. Leave. Yeah, right. Oh, so much joking. Mwah! I love you, Retta. I knew that, but some of these people might not know, so I wanted to make sure they know. And hopefully, you notice I followed you today. I tried to go in and follow a bunch of people today. Retta is Retta. Ain't that the truth, right? That's my new hashtag. Hashtag Retta is Retta. Vicky Fitch troll train. All aboard. I'll drive. Love it, Chris. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. All right, so I have a couple of minutes left. Does anybody have any other questions? We were talking about socialism and how this show is called Step Up, Stand Out, and Speak, and how we have to stop being silent. If you're supportive of socialism, feel free to let me know why, because it has never worked in any society or any country with any actual ability. People thought maybe it would work at first, and then they got their guns taken away, and then they got control. Like, look at us with the mask mandate. Biden is trying to claim that all the governors need to put the mask mandate back. And I just want to say something. I mean, even if you're seeing a spike, which, many states say they're not even seeing them yet, but when you take over 100,000 immigrants, which over 50% have COVID, and you ship them into the United States, in different places, are we not isn't it are we not expecting a surge? Because basically that's like a super spreader event on steroids. We're cramming them into bubbles where there's no air circulation. So the virus is continuing to jump from the 50% probably to 100% or 90%. And then we're taking those people and shipping them into the country. So if we don't have a surge, then that would be really weird. But then can we not say, this is going to happen? So basically, is this just your political play to try and get us to lock back down? Because again, you're doing it. You didn't need to let these people in. No one, this is not like people were at the border and there was, Pharaoh's army was right behind him with arrows and tar and feathers, and we let them in by the skin of their teeth to survive. He invited the people in, and he's injecting them into the country and knows this is going to happen. So, I mean, it's predictable what's going to happen. And so there has to be a reason. So when we start asking the questions and go, why? Why would you do that? Why would anyone in their right mind do that? Somebody help me, because maybe there's a reason I can't see it. 1,400 thanks to Biden. And should we celebrate that 1,400 that we're going to pay about 6,800 for the rest of our lives, and our great, 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 great grandchildren are going to pay? Not that I'm opposed to the support. I think the support is good. But did we need the other 91%? Did we need 1.9 trillion? No, we did not. We could have given everyone in America $10,000 and not done all the other crazy stuff that didn't have to be done. And we didn't have to bail out the governors that refused to take care of their own states, because they did. They refused. Washington, Oregon, New York, California. I mean, we bailed them out and they shouldn't have been bailed out, and it's ridiculous. Please support your police officers. Yes, we don't need socialistic counselors taking drug control of bad guys. Does anybody here, and again, I'm not trying to be rude, does anyone believe in defunding the police? I'm not saying there shouldn't be some reform, but I know lots of police officers in lots of counties, and I absolutely believe that we need to defend the police. We do not need to defund them. And sticking counselors out to try and negotiate situations is insane. It's stupid and insane because you have no idea what you're coming to. You need to be armed. You have no idea what people are going to attack you or do whatever. I mean, it's just nutty on a level I can't even explain. If you knew what the situation was, like an officer had said, hey, this is a situation that's escalated between family members, there's no mental health problems, or this, it's just an emotional thing, or there's not a violent thing here, then maybe you could pull a counselor in. But anyway, we got to talk about that another time. Did you notice that transportation to California has never been closed down? Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that. Socialism is relinquishing ownership of yourself and allowing others to decide your life for you. That's actually a fairly accurate description. I think we could be a little more specific about some of it, but that's a painful reality to look at. Other countries lock down their entire borders, planes and all, right? I mean, yeah, like I said, mhm. Well, hold on. 600 plus 1200 under Trump, 200 is much better. 200 is much better. 600 minus 12. Oh, well, no, see, I don't know what that exactly means, Red. I'm getting confused with the 600 minus 1200. Did you mean 600 under Trump? 200 plus is much better. Trump tried to do a higher amount, right? And that they wouldn't let him. Well, that's all. Like, we got to talk about that one because I think a lot of people are confused about that and what happened. And if you guys knew about the pork that went through in that first one, that was insane. And then the pork in this one is like crazy, crazy, crazy. The future demo vote, right? I know. I am a retired law enforcement officer. I do not believe in defunding. Amen to that. Share. Defend. I'm totally supportive of that. Guys, you have been fabulous. We have been on for over an hour. So remember, typically at 6 p.m. Pacific, I am on. I'm going to be on tomorrow. I might go on a few minutes early because tomorrow night I have Bible study and I have to be there at 7. So otherwise, I either have to cut the broadcast short or I have to come on a few minutes early. But if you're not following me already, be sure to give me a follow and hit the share button. If you guys are new to the broadcast, put your name in the chat. Make sure you're following. Let's stay connected. Like so, we can have a conversation. I love to have conversations and I love new topics. I actually keep notes of some of the stuff that you guys say so we can add that. Two things that we're going to talk about, and we do this daily, from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific. Ms. Vicky, your thoughts about the last 2 debates in October? Retta, you asked me when our show's over. You want to send me which part you want to talk about because I am a huge fan of talking about the debates. So, I really want to talk about that, Retta. Share, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. And thank you. Glad I found you on Haps. Glad you found me as well. And I'll look forward to following some of you guys as well. And Retta, let's see. I can't remember if I already had a topic from the first debate was hilarious. Most of them were hilarious. I mean, honestly, like just as a teaser, because I was not a fan of President Trump when he ran the first time. I am a fan of his now. That doesn't mean I don't think he should round the edges. It doesn't mean I think he makes all the right choices. I think that Joe Biden honestly is mentally incapacitated, and I totally mean that. I think Trump made some really good points, but anyway, I cannot support everything he does. I don't think he does things the right way, but again, that's one of the reasons that people liked him. He's not me for sure. I have a different delivery method, and I certainly wish he would have rounded the edges on his tweets. But some of the people that really like him, that's what they like because he's so out there. I mean, there's no doubt what the man's thinking. And if he makes a mistake, he deals with it. But anyway, yeah. Well, hold on. Chris Wallace was the moderator. Okay, Retta. Chris Wallace was the absolute worst moderator ever. And yes, he's supposed to be part of Fox, but let's face it, Fox is not 100% conservative and not always on the right side. And Chris Wallace did a horrible job. Horrible with a capital H. We have to talk about. All right, we're going to talk about the debates because I think they will be funny. I still have to learn how to use some of this where I can get my clips because they wouldn't let me upload my clips yet, apparently because I'm newer. If any of you Haps people are in here, I'm a legit broadcaster. Give me Give me my opportunity to have my graphics and my videos and stuff. I promise I won't let you down. Kristen Welker did great. Yes, but right? She did way better, but we still have to talk about that too. Hallelujah on Chris, right? Chris Retta. Chris was awful. You probably were cheering for Chris Wallace, knowing that you're not on Trump's side, right? Because that was like having a Trojan horse for sure. You can email them and they will transfer over your same ranking that you had on Periscope. I did email them, Share. I went through the things um I emailed 3 people from the little things today about my badges, about having my content and asking, do they have templates that we can just use? Because I don't want to have to write out the hashtags every single time. I keep missing some of them. And I'm wondering if we can just have a template and then we can change the title. And because I go on every day at 6, I just want that to be booked every day at 6. If I'm going to miss one, I can delete it or say, no broadcast. But I'm hoping that stuff can be there too. Anyway, you guys are freaking amazing. I absolutely adore you. And Retta, come back tomorrow. I think I can do it tomorrow. I can't remember what we had on the agenda, but come back tomorrow anyway, and we can talk about that. I'd love to show the clips where we can go. But wait a minute. Like he actually never mind. Nah, you know what I'm talking about, Retta. Anyway, love you guys. You're amazing. See you tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. And until next time, you guys know the drill, right? I want to remind you, like I always do, to dream it, believe it,